Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today I'm going to build a Star War. This is an AT-M6, as you can see on the box, which I'm assuming is an upgrade to the AT-AT, if the things that look like cable cutting devices on the front legs are anything to go by. This is a Bandai kit, and I'm sure it's in a scale, but I'm not exactly sure what scale that is, and I don't suppose it really matters. Inside the box we find instructions, and I would say that's a bit unusual, but for these kits it's pretty much standard. The instructions are a little bit small because, well, it's a small box, but they're not too bad. They're clear and fairly simple without too much going on in any one step, so they're really easy to understand and follow. Also inside the box are 4 sprues. These are the high quality plastic I would expect from a Bandai kit. Everything is nice and neat, and while there are mold lines, they're almost non-existent, and they've been designed so that they're usually hidden and out of the way anyway. Most of the cleanup is going to be where you've cut parts off the sprues, so if you do that really neatly, you'll have next to no cleanup to do. The details are all nice and crisp and very neat looking. There's a bunch of good looking bits and pieces that kind of stand out and should make it fun to paint and weather. I couldn't tell you how accurate to the on-screen representation this kit is, but I'm sure it's pretty reasonable. This kit is able to be built without glue, it will stay together with friction, however, I choose to use glue anyway.
But Herbert, using glue on these kits is sacrilege!
I also like to use glue because I find it funny when somebody inevitably gets all butt blasted when I glue these models together. Imagine getting upset about that. Anyway, I start by putting these 2 parts together. This will form the basis for the cockpit, or the head, if you look at the AT-M6 like a giant mechanical animal or something. You do have to apply a bit of pressure to get the parts to go together properly, but nothing too extreme. Then, with some glue in place, I attach the side parts. Most of the parts are keyed, so it's pretty difficult to get them on the wrong way, but if you wanted, you probably could. The little shaft bit at the back here didn't seem to want to go together initially, but I convinced it otherwise. A little bit of glue will make sure that it stays convinced. Then I press these little, I guess they're weapon mounts, into place. It did kind of seem like you could put these on the wrong side, maybe. I'm pretty sure I didn't though. And that's the head, or cockpit, or whatever you want to call it, completed, and I set that aside for later. The main body of the vehicle, I guess you would call this a vehicle, that goes together next. First, the roof, which initially I did have a little bit of trouble finding the right placement for. It didn't take me too long to get it figured out and glued into place. The other side then goes on nice and easy. Again, a little bit of pressure was needed to get everything all the way together, but it's not like it's anything extreme. Even a small child would be capable of exerting the pressure needed here. Then, I discovered that I'd put some parts together in the wrong order.
Oh, Herbert doing it wrong? Big surprise!
There's a front part, which is preventing this bottom part from going into place. So I take it off and put the bottom part on first, which is certainly an unsurprising way to deal with this. The instructions aren't clear here, doesn't say which one goes on first at all, but it's easy enough to figure out. Next, I assemble this, it looks kind of like a radar dish or something. I'm not sure what it's meant to be, but it goes together pretty easily. It can be installed into the upper front part of the body here, like so, facing forward to do whatever it does. I follow this with the hull rear, or butt if you want to use the professional technical term. Then there's a set of 4 tanks of some sort that go down the vehicle's back. During the build stream, I speculated that these might be kegs for space beer. Very big kegs, because space beer is very big. All of these parts are identical, so there's no need to worry about getting them all mixed up or anything like that. It's probably not going to be a very good walker if it doesn't have any legs, so I put those together next. This one is a rear leg. The only thing we really have to do to these is add a part with a bit of the foot and a portion of the side of the leg. As you can probably tell, I'm an adult. Definitely an adult, and not a child. Assembly of the forward legs is pretty much the same sort of thing, just with different parts. It does kind of look like something is missing on the upper part of the leg here, and it does kind of look weird in general, but this is how the leg is meant to look. Now, all we have to do is put together those sub-assemblies, which I would be shocked to learn that you were shocked to learn is incredibly easy. I start by pressing the legs into place. There is a little bit of play in these parts, which will allow you to position the legs a little bit, mostly just enough that you should be able to get the model to stand properly on a flat surface. And that is a good thing, but there are no movable parts in the legs themselves, so you couldn't really put the model in any dynamic poses or anything like that, not without a lot of extra work anyway. It's still pretty cool just standing there. Next, the cockpit goes into place. You do get a bit of variety in how you can position this, though I felt like level and relatively straight ahead was the best choice. The final touch is a bit more glue in various places, like the neck joint and where the legs contact the body, just to collect a few more tears. I mean, just to make sure everything stays where it should. And there we have it. The AT-M6 from Bandai is now completed. I think it looks really cool. It's obviously not the same as the classic AT-AT, but it's still pretty neat, and it was a fun little kit to put together. Sometimes you just want something like this that's relatively simple and hassle-free to build. It's nice and relaxing. There's no photo etch or frustratingly microscopic parts to worry about. You could drop bits of this kit onto the floor and probably be able to find them. Anyway, if you're into Star Wars and you're looking for a fun, simple build, I would recommend pretty much any of the Bandai Star Wars kits. I've put together a few of them now, and they've all been really good. You don't need much by way of modeling skill to build them, so they're really good for beginners. Obviously, if you want to paint it, you'll have to at least have some idea of how to do that, but I don't think it looks too bad in the grey plastic colour either. It would still work perfectly fine just to decorate a desk or something with no paint on it. Of course, I do think it would look better with a nice paint job and some weathering, but that is something for another day. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment section below. If you want to watch me build kits like this one live, check out my Twitch channel, where I stream pretty much all of the builds you see on this channel. There's a link in the description. Subscribe if you want to see more, support on Patreon or Ko-fi if you're able, and check out some of the links in the description. Take care of yourselves, be excellent to each other, and thanks for watching. Farewell.